election night is about the presidential race first and foremost. But now that I have been endorsing all of these down ballot candidates, some of whom are hardcore Yang Gang, some of whom are for cash relief. There's virtually no one on the list that's not one of those two things. Like if you're really, I mean, if we endorsed you, you're generally for cash relief.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be very, very intent on seeing what happens to a lot of these candidates, particularly a lot of the challengers to incumbents. Beating an incumbent member of Congress is so hard under ordinary circumstances. It's one reason why you notice anytime it does happen, because it just never happens. But I think if there's going to be a time for it to happen, it's going to be this time. So for context, the historical re-election rate for an incumbent member of Congress is 94%. That's sky high. That's better than the Golden State Warriors in their record year kind of high.
Wow. Good analogy.
But so if this time it's going to be lower though, because you have a lot of incumbents who are vulnerable or in a contested race, and you're seeing record levels of turnout. The real challenge, if Andrew Yang is correct, and also our processes hold up, not a given, and that votes are counted and there's an orderly transfer of power, and Joe gets sworn in January 21st. Really, to me, then the work begins. You need to work to win this election. I'm working very hard to try and grow the number of members of Congress that are for cash relief, and so like where we're working. But then the real work begins after you're in power, whether you actually make enough big changes so that the problems that got Trump elected don't just fester and grow. And there's been a consistent narrative from a number of people that I find very, very interesting, and we're going to find out one way or another. And here's the narrative. You've all heard it, I think. That Trump, for all of his problems, is not as competent a fascist as you can imagine, arising from a truly disintegrating civilization, where if we don't solve the problems that got Trump elected, something else comes out of the same set of ideas and impulses and people, and that person could be worse than Trump. That person could be competent and malignant as well as narcissistic. That person could really put much more design into some of the darker tendencies that Trump represented, whereas Trump was kind of bull in the china shop. Like that was his vibe and approach. And I think that's one concern that I find, by the way, totally legitimate. Nature abhors a vacuum and the rest of it. Does the post-presidency Trump remain Trump? Are there like other versions that kind of spin out in various ways? There's this massive level of energy around some of these ideas and conspiracy theories and impulses, from the fact that QAnon has become an actual political movement despite just starting out as internet conspiracy theories. That's pretty wild. So the challenges are going to begin almost after election day and you're sworn in. The thing that Philip Howard said really stuck with me. He said the parties have been playing you lose, I lose, you lose, I lose all the time, while we have been losing ourselves, or like the people have been losing. And the temptation for Joe and the Dems is going to be, we won, we beat Trump, everything's back to normal, we can just do our thing, and because we're sane and rational and well-intended, all should be well, and you should believe in us. And a lot of Americans don't believe because they just don't think that our government is working for them and actually solving the problems they see around them. The fact that we don't have a stimulus relief bill, by the way, is exhibit 378 in their list of like why I don't believe in government. It's an awfully big exhibit. It's like a bigger exhibit than some of the others. So the challenge is going to be manifold, but it's strengthening the connection between government and the reality on the ground for many Americans. If we don't build up that connection, we don't build up the trust, the mistrust is just going to grow. The institutional deterioration is just going to grow. And the danger is that we become increasingly ungovernable and unable to solve meaningful problems over time. I think this is the real danger. I think we're going to win this election, and then the question is whether we go big enough and whether we rebuild in a way that's robust enough.
And I know this, if and let's say when we win, there are people like you, people like AOC, people like a lot of the candidates we've endorsed that will not let this administration, and we'll be allies to them as much as we can, but we'll not let them be complacent as if things are normal. Like you are step one on a long road to recovery.
I want to go through all the Humanity Forward candidates and what happened with their races. I now am so passionate about so many of these candidates. I'm going to be pumped when they win and very sad if they don't win, because I feel like they all deserve to win. Some of them have very tough races. But if you're listening to this and you can help in any of the Humanity Forward races, please check it out. Go to movehumanityforward.com. Who knows? It could be the person running in your district, and then you can go vote for them. But let's help them win. That's going to be, to me, a massive emotional high or low, what happens with those candidates. Because having been a candidate myself, I see what they put on the line, and if they win, some of them, if they win, that it's going to be historic, because some of them are awesome candidates and human beings, but running in districts where no one gave them a shot in the beginning, but now some of them do have a shot.
Yeah, the best thing we can do to broaden what you stand for, Andrew, is actually empowering the people we've tasked with carrying the torch. You know, we've given our blessing who are carrying the torch. So that's Move Humanity Forward. You can actually donate to all of them. Like if you only have $5 to donate, you can give a little fraction to all of them, which is it'd be pennies, I guess. So please give more than that if you're doing that. But like you can see them all, and they need, like Joe Biden, they're good on money. I think down the stretch here, but some of these candidates actually really good. They're good, but some of these smaller candidates really could, and $100 or whatever you can give actually would go a decent way, because they're doing a lot of Facebook ads or flyer printing and get out the vote efforts day of, and that actually carries some weight in some of these smaller towns too. So
I've donated to our candidates. It's just so fun. You can't resist. And then after you donate, there's a magical connection that is forged. Some of you have that connection with me. So if you want to root even harder for candidate election night, just make a donation, $10-$20 to them, and then all of a sudden you'll be like, that's my guy, or that's my gal, or that's my candidate. So I'd encourage you to do so. It really is magical, that connection. It's one reason why I think those organic campaigns like ours end up being so much stronger, because you feel like you own it. Through your support, and like it or not, that includes financial support. There's something very direct and powerful about it.
You know what's cool, Andrew, that we actually don't talk about enough is that you interview every candidate we endorse or are about to endorse. And no offense to Barack Obama, he makes a lot of endorsements. I highly doubt he's doing that. You get to know them personally, and there have been times where you're like, I don't know if this is, you want to get to know them on a personal level to make sure they that frankly the Yang Gang or anyone's donating to them.
I personally interview them, and I personally donate to them if we decide to go forward. And I've definitely talked to someone and been like, I don't know if this is the way or this is the fit, because I'd feel terrible endorsing someone if I didn't have that direct experience with them, even if it is a half an hour Zoom or phone call. And you can go a long way with a half an hour Zoom or phone call and getting into someone's head and seeing what makes them tick. And now I love those candidates. I'll tell you, if I'd endorsed them and I hadn't had that conversation with them, would I feel as strongly as I do? Heck no.
Yeah, you'd be a fake. You'd be a phony. Yeah.
But now I'm so into it. I'm so into each and every one of them. They're awesome. I don't want to name names. It's like having, but like Donna, David, Kim, Cara Eastman in Nebraska in that district we're talking about. The folks who were on Yang Speaks last week, Pam Keith, Alan Cohn, the list just goes on and on. I love them all. Shreya Kulkarni, Lula Cycli. Anyway,
They're all pretty awesome.
Do check them out at movehumanityforward.com. Let's help them win. That's going to be a roller coaster for me on election night, because I can already see some of them are going to win. I'm sure some of them are not going to win because many of them have very challenging races. But I'm going to be like, yes, oh no, yes, oh no. And then I'll be, and some of you won't know. I'll be texting them too. I'll be all like, true. Yeah, so excited. Or like, you did great anyway. Yeah, anyway. So election night, it's going to be a huge night. Let's make it even better. Make sure and vote. You can still make a difference. You can still donate. You can still volunteer. You can still do all sorts of things. Thank you for listening in. I hope you enjoyed this conversation. If you did, please do subscribe to Yang Speaks and click on notifications so we can let you know every time we have a new episode.